Alright, we're getting Hocus Pocus. For those of you that watch the video on my main channel, I don't often watch Romanian news, but when I do, I'm getting baffled. It's interesting because, like, when you're on the internet, you think that maybe the online space is like it, where you have people that you notice are absolutely dumb, but they insist on their stupidity, and they double down, they quadruple down, and it comes a point when you know the other person knows that they're wrong, but they insist on it anyway because of prestige. Like, they can't be viewed in front of the algorithm, in front of their peers, that they're talking nonsense, right? So for those of you that haven't watched the video on my main channel, basically a Romanian commentator was suggesting that the Romanian president didn't talk with Donald Trump. And that's a ridiculous statement to have, specifically because, dude, all Trump has to do is to call him out. Like why would he position himself for failure, right? Like, if the US president doesn't want to talk to you, like, let's say you're the Romanian president, and the US president just flat out refuses to talk to you, and you go in public and you say, no, actually, he did talk to me, like, your lie can simply be debunked by the US embassy just saying, no such conversation took place, and then you look like shit. Like, no person with two neurons to rub together would make a claim like that, you know? Like, governments do lie, but they have professional liars. They're not amateurs. And so, a political commentator simply going like, nah, this didn't happen, nah. And then someone shows, it's like, look, we have a message. And he's like, no, the message says that he spoke with POTUS, not Donald Trump. Like, what is this POTUS? I don't understand what POTUS is. It's like hocus pocus? Like, what is this nonsense? What is POTUS? Who's this POTUS guy? He didn't speak with Donald Trump, spoke with POTUS. And you're looking at the television, and the television is looking at you, and you're wondering, how the fuck did we come to this? You know, the other guy that was also talking with the journalist was baffled as well. I was baffled. My wife was baffled. Everyone was baffled. I think Donald Trump, if he by some miracle manages to watch that, he would be baffled too. Yeah, well, okay, look, they are professionals. I'm not going to hold people to unreasonable standards. Like, I understand, you know, not everyone has to know English. Not everyone has to understand American politics. Like, maybe he's really good at internal politics, right? You give the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe he knows Romanian politics much better than I do, and that's his job. And every now and then, you know, Romanian politics intersect. Like, let me be honest, you know, if Romania would have a deal with Zimbabwe. Like, I don't fucking know about Zimbabwe. I don't know the leaders there. I don't know what politics they have, you know. So like, it would be normal for me to not know. And I also know my limitations, like, even with American politics. Like, I don't know who is in Maine, like, who the governor of Maine is. I don't even know the capital of most states in the US. I don't even know on a map where I can point out, like, where is Utah? What is, I mean, I think I can point out Washington, New York, maybe California and Texas. But, like, if you're asking me more than that, I don't know, right? So, like, it's fine to have limitations, but when you're doubling down on your stupidity, when you have people that are willing to show you, and they're, like, telling you, like, look, this is how we do. No. Alright. Whatever. Glomez, welcome to the chat. Doug, everyone else, welcome. We're going to be talking about the war in Ukraine today. We're going to be talking about drones. Let me see if I can ask Arch to come in now. Because I think this is an important conversation to have. Have you guys noticed this? Especially on Twitter. You get like a footage, and it's always Ukrainian. Like, I'm starting to think that it's Russian PSYOP. Because I can't understand it anywhere else. Either it's Russian PSYOP, or maybe we don't get to see the Russian version simply because of the way social media works, right? Like, a lot of Russians were banned and suppressed. But you get this picture. Usually, Ukrainian soldier surrender. A Russian soldier surrendering, or a Russian soldier in a vulnerable position, and there's this drone that kills him, and you have heavy metal music. And the comment section blows up, and it's always the same. You have people that are cheering that it happened. And there are other people that are shocked. You know, it's like, dude, it's a human being. Like, why are you showing me this level of carnage on my Twitter feed? And the answer is like, oh, no, you don't understand. The Russian, they're the orcs, the invaders, orcs. And if you don't agree, they get very aggressive. And so you gotta ask, is this Russian psyop? Because, like, showing videos with heavy metal glorifying the death of combatants on social media, like, all the Russians have to do is to take that footage and show it to their soldiers and say, look what they do to you if you try to surrender. Look what they did to your comrades. Look what like that raises the morale of the Russian army. It doesn't raise the morale of the people at home that don't want to see carnage on their social media feed, right? And so it's just like, why are they doing it? That's what I don't get. And the interesting thing is, like, how do they have access to the footage? Because I understand that if you're a drone operator, right, you're kind of like under an NDA, right? Like, the footage is government property. Like, they don't want you to release it to the public. Now, I understand if it's like a footage of a drone that just blows up tanks. Like, that makes sense, you know? Like, it's heroic. It's like, look, they managed to destroy this military objective using very inexpensive equipment, right? And they managed to destroy, like, this tank brigade using one Bayraktar. And everyone goes like, okay, yeah, that's fucking badass. But when you're showing, like, a random guy, which is in a fetal position or resigned, and like, he knows death is coming, and the guy with the drone starts hovering the drone around him, and you have, like, eerie music, and then everyone is cheering. Like, what the fuck did I just saw? Like, that's not combat, that's an execution. That doesn't make me feel that, oh, this is heroic, or look, the good guys are winning, or anything like that. Like, you're showing me an execution in real time. Like, what exactly, like, what reaction do you expect from me, you know? Now, the conversation becomes really interesting, because it's like, well, is it a war crime? And so, some people say, well, because the soldier is surrendering, then it's a war crime. While other people say, no, because, like, the soldier is behind enemy lines, so, like, he is way past the front, and he can't surrender, right? Like even if he surrenders, like, he can't be escorted to a place where he's going to be arrested. And so the idea is that, well, okay, if you have a drone and a soldier surrenders and immediately the drone backs off, then, like, literally every single other Russian soldier would fake surrender. Like they would just kneel down in a fetal position, and you can't do anything, right? And like, what do you do then? Like, it defeats the purpose of what the drone is supposed to accomplish. So, you know, like, the idea of surrendering or not, I think, like, it depends where the combat is. Like, if it's on Ukraine, like, if it's on Russian territory, right? And the soldier lifts his hand up, and all of a sudden, like, Russians can encircle him and take him as a prisoner of war, then I think that does justify as a surrender. But if the person is way behind his friendly lines, like, he's way behind the trenches, or he is into Ukrainian territory, and he just raises his hands, right? Like, how do you escort him out of there? How do you capture him? I mean, you can theoretically just move the drone so that he follows the drone, but, like, what happens if another Ukrainian shoots down the drone? Like, right? Like, it does provoke a logistical challenge. So, I'm not saying that I know the answer to this. Like, I don't know what the ethics of this are, but I do understand that there is a complex problem that is worthy of conversation, and it's obviously not for me, it's for the military generals, officers. Usually, like, these conversations about what is a war crime and what isn't are usually done as a, look, we don't do this to you, you don't do this to us, right? Like, this is why we have standards of engagement and standards in combat and shit, because otherwise, you know, people would just carpet bomb everything. I mean, like, okay, well, total war, you know? But no, it's like, okay, we're not killing your civilians. In exchange, you don't kill ours. We're not shooting your Red Crosses. In exchange, you don't shoot ours, right? Like, the idea is that war is already pretty fucked up. Let's have some rules so it doesn't have to be even more fucked up than needed, okay? And so, when it comes to this thing, I get it, right? But, like, why are you showing it on social media? Why are you glorifying it? I understand if you glorify a strategic operation like Ukraine's invasion into Kursk. That is pretty fucking badass, right? Like, because it's a military operation that requires strategy, it requires logistics. There's a lot of different forces that are involved. It's actually interesting to see how the soldiers communicated with each other, right? Or the Ukrainians' initial response to Russian aggression. Like how they managed to mobilize really fast, how they managed to defend their airports, and how they fought against the Russian paratroopers, and it's heroic. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that. But if you're showing me a guy, a soldier, that's in a trench, or he's crying out for his mommy, and you have like this drone like just like ominously hovering around him and launching a rocket with heavy metal music, and I see people liking and retweeting, like, I'm sorry, but that's disturbing. It's fucking disgusting. And on top of that, I generally think it's a Russian psyop. Like, this is literally the type of thing that Russian officers would want to show their soldiers. This is what the enemy is like. This is what they do if you surrender. This is what they do to your comrades if they desert. Right? Like, you're showing it to the Russian people. It's like, this is what we're fighting against. This is how they're behaving. Like, why would you put it online? Why would you upload it? Why would you cheer on it? In Iraq, we almost had the same thing. People surrendering to Apaches and A-10s. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, you know? It's interesting that in World War II, you actually had a different scenario where it was considered dishonorable to shoot a pilot parachuting off a plane. So, let's say you're in a dogfight, and the plane is going down, and the pilot bails out. Now, it was actually dishonorable, and in some cases, you would even be court-martialed if you shot the parachuting pilot. Why? Because it was considered that this is a gesture of surrender. It's an easy target. There's no skill, right? Like shooting a parachuting guy, it's no big deal. Anyone can do it. And the guy was going to be arrested when he lands anyway. Like in an air combat, in an air raid, like there were already people getting ready on the ground to arrest people. Now, it's interesting that the Nazis actually followed this even in the battles of London. And the reason it's interesting is because when you're talking about the pilot, especially in World War II, that was an important strategic asset. It wasn't just one man. A pilot was something that was very difficult to train at the time because you didn't have a flight simulator. You didn't have like someone that could spend years in flight training. It was pretty much like, okay, you know the basics. They get you in a plane. If you come back, you survive and you're valuable. If you died, well, it is what it is, right? Like people in World War II definitely didn't want to get in the Air Force. It was like something that they had to push them, especially in America. They were trying, like, a lot of pilots were trying to say that they're insane, so that as to escape being drafted into flying a plane. And the Americans said, well, if you don't want to go in a plane, then it means you're not insane because you understand the danger, so you're making a rational thought. But if you do want to go into the plane, well, it means you definitely want to fly, right? Now, obviously, you know, the Germans didn't shoot people in parachuting in London, and there's like stories of Englishmen that survived, and they basically confirmed this, and they don't understand why the Germans didn't do it because you know, the pilot would fall on the ground, and he wouldn't be captured, like he's on English soil. Meanwhile, German pilots would be arrested. However, this didn't happen in the Soviet Union. Like when the Germans fought in the Soviet Union, they did shoot the pilots, and so the Germans shot back, right? So there are controversies and nuances regarding surrender, regarding combat war operations. The reality is kind of like this. Usually, people agree or disagree on how war should be fought before the war happens, right? So, like, when you go to war, when the situation kicks in, the rules are already made. Like the rules of warfare are already made. Now, it's up to the combatants whether they want to follow them or not. It's up to the victor to punish the people for not following. But like during the actual combat, what usually happens is that the way you treat the enemy is the way the enemy is going to treat you. So if you brutalize the prisoners of war, if you treat people, you commit atrocities, then you're going to get the same in return. You're going to have your own prisoners of war brutalized, and you're going to get atrocities committed against you, or if you surrender, you get shot. And this applies to the individual soldiers despite of what they did, right? Like if the large army is considered to commit atrocities or to violate certain conventions, you get the same thing in return, right? So like for instance, let's say you have a war, not between like smaller nations, but between two superpowers, right? And the superpowers initially decide we're not going to use chemical weapons. Well, okay. If you don't use chemical weapons, chances are the other side doesn't either, because they're following the convention. But the moment you have used chemical weapons, the moment you step that line, right? Like, there's no international power larger than a super nation to punish you. Like, it's an honor-based system, right? You promise you wouldn't, so people expect that you don't. But if you have used them, well, in that situation, the other side gets to use them as well. So, for instance, like, what would happen? Let's say Russia, hypothetically speaking, would launch a tactical nuke, right? So a tactical nuke is something that isn't going to wipe out a city, but it's a statement. It's like, it can destroy a large area, causes radiation sickness, denial of terrain, right? Like, it has strategic importances. Let's say it does that. Obviously, you know, Russia would get sanctions, the international community would be in an outrage, so on and so forth. But what I guarantee you would happen is that Ukraine would immediately get its own nukes from the West. Like, France would start sending nukes to Ukraine. The United States may even send nukes to Ukraine. And now Ukraine can use nukes as well. Right? So, like, the whole idea of following the rules in an international conflict is to understand that there is no greater body, like there's no court that actually enforces these rules. What usually happens is after the war is over, the victor is going to punish the people that they defeated by enforcing the law. You will never see like the victor being held accountable for war crimes, right? Like even though the victor commits war crimes, like for instance the Soviet Union did the Katyn massacre in Poland, they will never be held accountable for that. Give me 1 second. Zlixian says you can just put a speaker on the drone, then the drone can either escort the prisoner or have him drop his weapons and destroy the weapons. Okay, first of all, the drone doesn't work like that. Okay, like once the drone destroys the weapons, the drone explodes, right? Like most drones are kamikaze, and so if you destroy the weapons, you lose the drone. But like, let's assume that what you're saying is true, right? Like you put a speaker on the drone, and the drone then escorts the prisoner. What happens if the drone is like 10 kilometers away, right? And you're escorting the prisoner through what? Like no man's land? And he just like, what? Like goes through his own trenches where his own allies are there. And they just go, well, you know, good luck, guy. You know, I guess it is what it is. You know, they got you good. They got you good. Like, we'll see you when the war is over, right? No, that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is if you try to escort the prisoner through no man's land and through his own trenches, his allies is going to shoot the drone. Like, that's what's happening. You're going to get another guy, right? Like, he sees what's happening, shoots the drone, and you lose footage. You don't know what happened, and that's it. Okay? Like, it's not as easy. It's not, like, I understand there's a logistical component to this. I understand what the rule says, but again, I think there is a conversation worthy of being having. Like, where exactly did he surrender? You know, how did he surrender? So on and so forth. The drone also have bombs they can drop. Well, yeah, but again, you're doing a cost assessment, right? Like, how much is the soldier's equipment worth? You know, how much is a AR-15 or whatever they're having? Okay, now you destroyed the weapon. Congratulations. How much did it cost for you to destroy the weapon? Like, how much is that grenade? You know? Like, what exactly are you accomplishing? Like, simply destroying a soldier's weapons. If you don't get the soldier, if you don't capture him, like, he's going to get new weapons. Anyway. Armed drones, are they not flying weapons themselves? No, the drones actually do not shoot bullets, okay? The drones do not shoot bullets because of recoil, and it's not as efficient. Drones are pretty much like a missile with a camera attached. Like, you basically guide your own missile, you know? Now, oh, yeah, like another point by Rasmus, right? Like, let's assume that you can actually accept a soldier surrendering and you're guiding him back home. You're literally showing the entire enemy team where you're at. Like, you're showing all of the enemy combatants where your soldiers are. Right? Like what's to stop, let's say, 10 other guys just following the... What do you do then, right? Like, let's say you manage to get a soldier to surrender, and you're flying the drone back to your base, and on the road, 10 other soldiers, they don't shoot the drone, they just follow the guy that's surrendering. What do you do there? Your drone can explode, right? Like, it doesn't have bullets, can't shoot people, it just goes boom. Do you go into the 10 other guys? What about the guy that surrendered? You know, like, it's not as simple. It's not like a video game. At least in World War I, many of the weapons made to destroy morale and not actually kill enemy soldiers. What are you talking about? Okay, we're going to discuss World War I. Now, Arch says that because you see these videos that are on the internet with soldiers, you know, being in fetal positions, surrendering, and being killed, he's saying that drones are taking away the soul of mankind, right? Like, this type of war where you have a drone operator playing Descent and treating war like a video game is not something that he enjoys. And so, like, he would want drones banned. Like my brother in Christ, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but they're not going to get banned. Now, here's the reality. Most people have an evolutionary mechanism that prevents them from killing other human beings. Even if they're enemy soldiers, even if it's like legally justified, the idea of killing another person with your bare hands is something that most people have a morality against. Like, as you're trying to stab someone or bayonet someone, like, your body is recoiling. It's telling you not to. Now, obviously, this can be bypassed, usually through training, right? Like, when you're in the military and they tell you to stab a straw man with a bayonet, right? Or like a target dummy, and you have to poke it. And that is to desensitize this idea of hesitating. Of like, right? So, like, when you're fighting with an enemy soldier, you're now seeing the straw man. You're seeing the target dummy. Now, this is for melee, right? Like, it's for hand to hand. Like, most people don't want to kill in hand to hand. But what happens when you have range? The church, for instance, tried to ban crossbows, especially to use against Christians. They viewed it as a dishonorable, ungodly weapon. Because why? Well, now you can kill a person just with a twitch of the finger. There's no hesitation. There's no like, oh, I'm going to try to avoid killing him. I just want to get him out of the combat. I just want to maim him so he doesn't keep fighting, right? It's just like a twitch of the finger, boom, person is dead, right? So, like, when it comes to range weapons, the hesitation becomes smaller than with melee. Now, it still exists, you know, like, people may try not to aim to the head. They may try to aim to the leg, telling themselves that the other guy may have a higher chance of survival. And this happens in war, like, especially in World War II. Many soldiers said, yeah, I was trying to shoot for the leg. I was trying to shoot for non-vital parts. I know that he may still die, but, like, I'm hoping that maybe with medical assistance he makes it, right? So a lot of soldiers actually thought this way. A lot of soldiers refused to do headshots in combat. Again, it's part of human nature. Like, it's part of the evolutionary mechanism. We don't want to kill other people, even when we're told to, even when it's legally allowed and justified. And so, melee is the one where it's almost excruciatingly difficult. Range becomes a lot easier. But then you have artillery. And so you realize that a lot of the death in war comes from artillery. Artillery accounts, I think, in Ukraine for 70% of the death. You're pressing a button. You're launching a projectile kilometers away from you. You don't see the damage it does. You don't know the people you're killing. You don't even know if you killed someone, right? Like, when you're with artillery, you're told, go here, launch, and then get the fuck away before the counter battery hits it. So it's incredibly dehumanizing. You don't really see the damage you're doing. You may kill like 100 people with an artillery strike. You don't fucking know, right? So all of a sudden, the whole incentive goes away. Like, from your perspective, you're driving a car and pushing a button. The same thing can happen when you're in an airplane, right? Like, you're above the clouds. You're seeing it on your scanner or your targeting system. You launch the Hellfire missile. You don't know the damage you did. You don't know, like, how many people died. You don't see the screams, the fire. Like, it's okay. Same thing can happen if you're in a bunker and you launch a missile. So why is a drone any different? Like, why is Arch upset that, okay, you're using a drone now? Like, a drone is still an artillery shell that you can have a camera attached to it. That's it. So I think, like, the problem isn't the drone itself. It's the fact that people glorify the footage. You know, Arch says, oh, well, like, the people are, the drone operators are sitting behind enemy lines and they're safe. Okay, I guess, but, like, how is it different to an officer that sits in a bunker and sends men to die? Right? Like, an officer that sits way behind enemy lines in a headquarters, in a bunker somewhere, and issues commands. Like he's not on the front line. He's not risking himself. How is it different to the guy in a bunker that presses a button? Or if you're in Afghanistan or in Iraq and you're in an Apache helicopter and they can't do anything to you. Or you're in a Abrams tank and they don't have any weapons to fight against you. Like what is the difference? Right? And so I don't see, I don't see drones as being something revolutionary that never existed up until now. The idea that you're killing people from afar. The only revolutionary thing is that now you see it. And it's posted on the internet and people hit the like button and the retweet and the subscribe. I don't think that Arch is living a shelter life as a Norwegian and he doesn't know what he's talking about because he is passionate about war. He understands weapons more than I do. But it's just like, I don't think like his outrage is channeled properly. It's not like the fact that drone operators are playing a video game that is shocking, right? It's the fact that the footage is used to glorify it. Perhaps Arch told it from the opposing infantry perspective. Cheap drone follows you everywhere and sees you with infrared. Yeah, but you have countermeasures for it. You have your own drones. You have your own anti-drone infantry, which can block the signal. They can spot drones from before they're coming. They have like various ways to protect themselves, right? Like it's not imbattable. Like it's not like the cheat code to war. Because if it was, the war would be over by now, right? Your side has the same shit. Your side also has satellites. You also see infrared. You also have the same access that they do. And that's why it's combat, right? Like that's what war is. Now, if you want to say that the drones have changed the way warfare works, I disagree. I really disagree because if anything, I believe World War II was the exception. Like here you have a combat that's fast, it has blitzkrieg tactics, looks more heroic, right? Like storming a beach is more heroic than the industrial meat grinder of Ukraine-Russian war. But if you think about it, I believe World War I is the actual way that war is supposed to be fought. What I mean by this is like it's the actual essence of the war, right? Like World War I is a lot more what war is the standard, and World War II is the exception. Because if you look at the Americans and their Civil War, it was also a lot of static involved, like a lot of people digging in and fighting in defensive positions. And so I believe that World War, not World War III, but like this current one, the Russian-Ukraine, is more to the hallmark of what war is supposed to be. And yeah, the drones are making it that way. But at the end of the day, the drones aren't the biggest killer. The biggest killer is the artillery. Like 70% of fatalities don't come from drones, don't come from tanks, don't come from bullets, they come from artillery. And so I don't think Arch is right to be upset at the drones, right? Like he is kind of like a guy being upset at the trench gun in World War I. Yeah, sure, the trench gun is inhumane and it's incredibly powerful, and but like your side has one. And getting it to the enemy trench is not easy, right? Like it's not a cheat code. Now, let's talk a little bit about how war is, because I see a lot of people glorifying the war, and it disgusts me, because they don't know what they're glorifying. They don't know what they're signing up for. So, what happens if you're drafted in one of these wars, right? Like a lot of people keep attacking the soldiers, right? I mean, on social media. They're saying, oh, orcs, or on the other side, it's the pro global homo army, global homo, the pidar. That's what they're calling them, the pidars. Okay. Most people that fight in war, especially in a modern war, after 4 years, they don't do it because of ideology. Like if you have like the ones that joined in the beginning, yes, they did it for ideology. Although many Russians didn't. Like many Russians actually thought they're going for a training exercise, right? So really, the people to blame are the politicians, not the soldiers. That's just my take. But okay, because like if it's the soldiers, I can understand. Well, what if it's my son one day? Like my son could be drafted through the same circumstances. And so, okay, like what happens if your country is at war in modern 2025? It differs from country to country, but basically, once the country really needs people, like it experiences shortages, the draft intensifies. And so you can, in some cases, get a summon, right? Like you're being told to present yourself to the nearby recruitment center. If you refuse, they can just shut down your bank accounts. Like your entire public life is zero, right? Like banks just freeze your assets. In a world where everything is cash, good luck with that. You may have crypto, you may have Bitcoin. Good luck exchanging it into dollars. Like no bank wants to do business with you. You can't link a bank account to it anymore. So like you're kind of constrained to show up. Now, they can also kidnap you from the streets. Legally speaking, it happened in my country as well during World War II, during World War I. Like this is something that many nations do. They have teams that go around the nation, and when they see someone, they automatically bump into them, put them in a car, and recruit them by force. Now, this also happened in Russia. A lot of people keep showing it that it happens in Ukraine. It's like, yeah, it's happening in Russia as well, but in Russia it's a little bit different because they have a huge population surplus, right? So they aren't desperate enough to start kidnapping people from the streets. But you have a protest. Where do you think the people that are getting arrested from that protest go? You have prisoners. Where do you think the prisoners are being sent to? Right? Like the leaders of the protest. Okay, well, all of a sudden they're volunteering. If you have a city that's against the regime, like it's a city that's against the war, where do you think the next recruitments are going to happen from? Right? And so, what happens when you're recruited? Okay, you're taken up and you're sent there. People say we must work like gangs to prevent recruitment, to prevent drafting. Not all the people think like that. Like usually the war is supported by at least half the population. And it's usually, well, it's our nation, it's our land. If we allow them to come in, then our children are going to have to pay the price because they're going to want more, right? You get some horror stories that come from the Russian occupied lands. You don't know if they're true or not. You have historical baggage with them. No, like I understand why people would support the war even today. And so anyway, right, you get drafted. What happens next? You're being sent in a center right? They're not giving you a gun. You don't have any weapon at you, because a lot of people say, oh, why don't you just shoot the recruitment officer? You don't have a gun. There's nothing to shoot. If you chimp out and you like genuinely behave in a savage manner, you're uncontrollable, you're like foaming at the mouth, biting everyone, fighting for your life, they apply a correction. They beat the living shit out of you. 5 or 6 guys. You know, it kind of chills you out. If it doesn't chill you out and you continue doing it and they notice that you're genuinely insane, they send you to prison. Okay, now you're in a prison. There's food shortages. There's disease. Other prisoners beat you up for being a coward. Right? And so, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you surrender. Like your chance being in a prison is probably just as bad as being on the war, because we're not talking about like a normal prison during peacetime. We're talking about the prison in a wartime, right? If you get sick, no one fucking cares. If you're starving, no one fucking cares. And even in the prison, you're probably constantly persuaded to go to the front line, right? Oh, you're hungry, you're starving. Well, we're sorry, we don't have food. We need to feed the soldiers. And you're being told it's like, you can always volunteer. And now if you're volunteering, you're being placed in a Strashnik battalion, in a penal battalion probably. Okay, so like, I wouldn't say it's a good idea to do that. Now let's see what happens if you cooperate, right? Like you're willing, all right, like send me to go to battle. And you're getting some training. You're going to get maybe 30 days or so. In America, it was called 90-day wonder during World War II. That's a lot of training. But, during the basic training, you're being told how to follow orders. What's the chain of command? Maybe you get to do some exercises. And then they look at your abilities. Like, what have you done in your civilian life? If you're a mechanic, maybe they can use you, right? Like, maybe you're going to be placed in a repair shop. You're going to be told how the tank engine looks like, how to fix a tank. If you're a doctor, all right, well, maybe you can be a combat medic, or maybe you can be a medic that works in a hospital close to the front. If you're an airplane expert, right? Like, you're a pilot, right? Like, you have a farm and you flew a helicopter, right? Okay, maybe they can put you in the Air Force. But chances are you're going to end up in the trench. That's where most people go, right? Like, in the trench. So what happens in the trench? Nothing happens in the trench. Nothing ever happens in the trench. In the trench, you have an entire day of absolutely nothing. There's no television, there's no radio, there's no, you can't even use your smartphone, I understand, because if you use your smartphone, you give away your position, like they can triangulate phone signals. And so, what basically means is that, you're going to sit in the cold and in the mud, you're going to shit in a hole, right? You're defecating in a hole. If there's a cold rain, all the shit comes out, floods the trench. And so your job is to clean the trench, maintain the trench, stay guard. And you're doing this for probably a couple of months, right? Clean the trench, maintain the trench, stay guard. And you're meeting other people that are in the same situation like you. Like, they've been drafted in the same nightmare as you. They also have kids at home, right? Like, the idea, oh, if I go, I shoot everyone. It's like, no, because like, everyone is miserable. Probably your officer, also miserable, right? Like, or your officer is probably promoted because he survived there a little bit longer than everyone else. And he wants to keep you alive. He wants to make sure that he brings the boys back home. And one day it happens. One day, like after being on routine and doing the same shit, it happens. You get an artillery bombardment, right? Incredibly loud. You're bleeding from your ears, and you're basically playing RNG Jesus. There's no amount of training that can help. The only thing that helps is to hope that the next artillery doesn't come on you. You get to see your soldiers, you get to see your fellow men being blown apart, torn up by artillery fire. And it depends how lucky you are. If it's a small barrage, can last 30 minutes of absolute terror and absolute hell. If it's a long barrage, it can last days. You can't sleep at night. You know that every single one can be the next. And after the barrage is over, usually it's followed by an infantry attack. Now, when the infantry attack happens, you look on the sky and you realize you have some friendly drones, right? So like the friendly drones will tell you, okay, soldiers are coming from such and such. You probably don't have time to understand what the fuck is going on. You don't really have time to know. It's like, hold on, quadrant 6, sector what? Like you're shell shocked. Like you just survived a massive enemy bombardment. You probably saw people dying. And so you're confused. Maybe you're getting a stun grenade, because that's also the way that the enemy attacks first, right? They're throwing a stun grenade in the trench. You don't know what the fuck is happening. You may know where like you're looking at the sky, you're seeing drones. You don't know which ones are yours, which ones are the enemies. Massive confusion. But at least you know where the enemy is at, right? Because they're outside the trench. If they're inside the trench, then your morale goes down. But if they're outside the trench, at least you know where they're coming from. And usually these battles are very quick. Like they end in 15, maybe 20 minutes. And then it's back to boredom and clearing up the dead if you survived. In the meantime, the government can forget about you. Like there are many situations, right? Like the front line is immense. Logistics are spread thin. And it is quite possible that, yeah, like sometimes the government actually forgets. You may get rations very seldom. Like you're not going to eat a meal a day, right? Like rations stop coming in. You're supposed to be rotated after 6 months. There are people that stood there for 2 years. And that's pretty much what war is like. And so when I see people glorifying it, when I see people being like, oh my goodness, it's so hot. Oh, when I see a short fat otaku going, oh, base, send more, pisses me off. It's not because of like siding with one side or the other. It's the lack of decorum. Like people who trivialize war and go based, risk at one point having their own politicians say, you know what, maybe it is based. I mean, we have money to make base things happen. Why shouldn't we join? I personally think that war is a tragedy in human history. It's something that should be avoided at all costs. And it disgusts me when I see people glorifying it. Hello, Angry Jagger. And glorifying it doesn't mean making video games, because that's not, that's nonsense. Making video games, making movies, like, that's fine. No, it's like when you see actual war footage, actual carnage, and you're cheering on it. It's like, I don't get that. Fuck are you doing? Or when you're encouraging it for the conflict to expand even further. Anyway, Bogdan, greetings, and keep fighting in order to try to explain how wrong the stupidity and the imbecility is, where people are agreeing with implementing dumb idiots. Okay. Thank you for watching. Be playing Minecraft and suddenly random 10-year-olds are handing you feathers. Oh, good God. There is a difference between those who in war making dark humor jokes versus glorifying it. Yeah, no, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're a soldier on the battlefield, you have all the right to make all the jokes that you want. Everything, even jokes about the N-words. Like, I'm happy with that. But if you're outside of the battle, if you're not even in the nation that's belligerent, I would expect a little bit of decorum. I'm not going to toe police people. It's just horrifying because those people don't know what the fuck they're playing with. And they don't understand, it's not like making jokes about it as the problem, but it's like wanting the conflict to expand or treating it like it's a football game. Like, now, there was, like, speaking of N-words, there was this VTuber which stopped responding, so I'm a little bit worried. I think, like, she actually terminated her social media account. But she was a Ukrainian artist, and she drew. And she was a Ukrainian girl, I think she was 18 or so, like, she wasn't very old. But she posted something, those N-words, no, sorry, not those N-words, those F-words. I need to use this type of language because YouTube algorithm censors if I use slurs. But yeah, she called them those gamer words, Russians. Today they were supposed to be doing a ceasefire and peace talks, and they shelled my neighborhood, right? And she shows pictures of the school she went to, which was destroyed. Pictures of the neighboring building, which was collapsed. Now, look, I don't know if there were military bases there because, you can use a school as a barrack. Like, it's actually the perfect building for it. It's, it looks good in the press if it's destroyed. It offers, like the stadium where you can put in bunk beds and stuff. So like, it's a good thing to use as a military barrack. But for a little girl, like an 18-year-old woman, sorry, not a little girl, an 18-year-old woman seeing something like that, your school being destroyed is traumatizing, right? So of course she's going to use gamer words. But immediately the topol is, you can't say that, you can't use that. And it's like, okay, so what are you saying? Like, you need to make war a safe space now? Like, are you going to start tone policing civilians that curse in a way Americans don't like when the Russians are shelling their neighborhood? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Right? Like is language more important for them than what the fuck is happening, right? If your school got burned down, like, hey, if my school got burned down, there is still no reason for me to use homophobic slurs. It's like, okay, right, great. But what if actual gay people are doing the bombing, huh? What then? You got like an LGBTQ rainbow flag on a drone that's doing the bombing, huh? Do you still say slurs? I would never say slurs in any circumstance. Okay, good for you. You're a pillar of the community. Holy shit. Everything is just peachy, says Walking Corpse. No, seriously, like, you're looking at this level of massive human stupidity on the internet, and you're wondering, do these people do anything else beside the ideology? Like, would they be capable of positioning themselves into that situation? It's like, what would happen? Because, like, okay, I get it. Like, for Americans, the idea of war on your personal soil is unthinkable, right? Like, America, in its entire history, I think only got invaded by Mexico and Canada, right? But like after that, for the last couple of hundreds of years, you never had a foreign military boot on your ground. So you don't know how it's like. And I understand. Okay. But you should still be able to imagine how it would be like if an enemy, right? An enemy army would destroy your town. Like they would shell your buildings, right? Even if there would be justification. It's like, okay, well, my soldiers went into that school and set up shop and then the school was destroyed. It's still your fucking school. You still went there, right? Like, the element of horror is still there. So, like, why can't you have some compassion? So many people lack the ability to simulate other perspectives. Not sure if it's IQ or lack of experience. I think it's not that they don't simulate it. I think they understand, but they're convincing themselves that if they say this, it's good because it makes them look good in their bubble, right? Like, as long as you look good with the people you associate with, and it, like, you're standing against homophobia, even in the trenches, then you're getting standing ovations, and that's why people do it. They don't care, I think. I think this is the reality. And it's okay not to care, Like, there's conflicts that are happening in Asia, there's conflicts that are happening in Africa, and I'm sad to say, but I don't care. Why? They're far away, Like, I'm not affected by them, I don't have, infinite empathy. I already, like, if I cared about those, then I wouldn't be able to care about the conflicts closer to me. And this is not hypocritical because the people in Asia and Africa also don't care about my conflicts, right? And it's understandable. Like, I wouldn't expect a guy from Botswana to care about the war from Russia-Ukraine. Like, he's far away from here, different politics, different situation, like why would he give a shit? And so, like, I'm not upset, right? But at the same time, even though I don't care, if I hear that there's civil war in Botswana, I wouldn't make fun of it. It's like, why? Like, there's carnage, right? Like, I don't need to care in order to also have some decorum about the issue. Meanwhile, it seems that other people don't feel the same way. They're like, well, I don't care that it's a war in Botswana, but what I can do is to farm some good boy points and call out homophobia when I see it. And if a Botswanian little girl said a slur in the by seeing her school being destroyed, I'm going to call her out. Hopefully, I'm going to get her canceled from social media, right? You're seeing that shit and you're wondering what the fuck. Solar tanks. Oh my goodness. I would if you could make the solar panel to be indestructible, that would be hilarious, right? It would be like a hybrid model, I guess. I made fun of the situation to a degree. See, that's another thing. Like, I still think it hits differently. Like the war with India and Pakistan, right? Now that actually does affect Europe and the United States somewhat because it's like tied into our politics. You know, whenever we talk about refugee or job allocation or stuff like that, we got a lot of immigrants. So like, people do have feelings about the geopolitical events in India and Pakistan. But it's one thing to like make fun of the war, you know, like the jokes that happened on social media with pooping and whatnot. Okay, I get that. But it would be another thing to see like a girl from India horrified that her school was burned down and she's cursing and you're trying to tone police her under threat that you're going to ban her from social media. Like there are different degrees of being an asshole, you know? Like one is not having empathy and not caring, which is like not that bad because like a lot of people do it, right? Like it's part of like being with the herd, you know, you don't stand up if you do it. People that are siding with the one side of the conflict, dehumanizing the other, again, understandable from the human experience, I get it. But like to police a young person that's traumatized, you know, and they did nothing wrong to you. They didn't attack you. They didn't have any opinions to you. Like, it's just one person that's traumatized about the horrors of war. And you're like, can't use that word. You can't be a homophobe. What are you doing? You know, I'm better than you. Fucking better than you because if I was in the trench, I would know how to speak properly. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not in the trench. Shut the fuck up. You know, stop trying to have the stolen valor. Don't let women be in charge if you don't like tone policing. Well, the hilarious of the situation is that the woman herself made the slur, while the people tone policing were men on Twitter. Allegedly men, because if your masculinity is chopped off, are you still a man? Not a man, not a woman, but something different, something else. A slave to an ideology that seeks to shackle. I need the Andrew Ryan speech, you know? Is a man without a penis still a man? No, says the man in the Vatican. Anyway, JDA79, here's another $2 V for extra buyer's remorse. Thank you. Sure, if you still have a tongue? I don't know. Those things aren't men or people for that matter. Well, you know, like I did have this conversation after castrating my cat. And I was wondering if it's still a male cat. I mean, it's not interested in pussy anymore. It became a vegetable. No fun in life. Just sitting on the couch all day, getting fat. And you gotta wonder, you know, like, what is it? Is it a male cat? Not really. Is it a female cat? Nope. Something else entirely now. Could like build a short bridge across the trench and then charge a toll to cross. The lives underneath. Oh my god. You monster. To be fair, I didn't want to castrate my cat. It wasn't my decision. It was my parents. I was living with my parents at the time. It was their cat. And they castrated it. Much to my horror and dismay because I didn't want that. Although I understand why they did it. It's because cats, especially male ones, they start to spray, right? Like they piss on everything to mark their territory. It's like a teenage guy, you know, a human that's a teenage, he masturbates everywhere and makes crusty socks. A teenage cat pisses on everything. And so it's a very nasty smell. And so the parents, they decided to snip. And they ruined the cat. Eunuch is the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Anyway, I disagree with the practice. I absolutely hate and despise the practice. I I get why people are doing, but my take is if you want to take a pet to mutilate it, because castration is mutilation, don't take a pet. Just leave it in the wild. Don't. No, it's not love. It's not compassion. You're doing damage to an animal. Yeah, it's like no more testosterone. You can't talk to a cat, so you don't know if it's depressed. But I hear like some of the most dumb arguments imaginable. It prevents testicular cancer. I'll get the fuck out. Yeah, like snipping the balls prevents testicular cancer. Yeah, removing an arm prevents breaking your fingers. You know, it's like... It's practical but immoral. Yeah, but like, again, I don't think that pets are sculptures for us to mold in a way that makes us happy. You know, it's the same like cutting the vocal cords of a dog so we don't hear it barking. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure it's cute to see the dog on mute and it can't bark anymore. It's less of an annoyance, less of a hassle. I get it, but you're mutilating the animal, right? It's a living creature. Why are you doing this to it? The problem is, if you don't neuter them, you can't have them because of the piss. Then don't fucking have them. You don't get a kid. Make a baby. Have a child. Why do you need a cat? You can have a cat and let it go outside. If it dies, it fucking dies. It's natural, right? Like creatures of the earth are part of the natural cycle. Sometimes they die, sometimes they live, right? Like if you have a wild cat in the fucking woods, okay? It's going to survive and then it's going to die. Everything dies at some point. Stop coping, right? Like take the cat, let it outside. When it comes in, you feed it, you give it love, and then let the animal be free. Like stop mutilating the thing. Fuck is wrong with you? V, do you think this conflict will escalate? Hard to tell. Usually, if war is left unchecked, eventually it escalates. Usually, most people don't want war, believe it or not. But once you become involved in war, people want more war. It's kind of like this. How likely are you guys willing to sue someone? Right? Like someone does something bad to you, and you're like, I'm going to take you to court. How often did that happen, right? Like it's very rare. But obviously, you know, some people do it. But like for the average person, the idea of taking someone to court is a big decision because you're like, okay, now I have to pay lawyers. Now I have to read case studies. Now I have to invest money into this, right? So like if people can avoid it, they will. Like usually they go for arbitration first. Usually they try to negotiate, right? And they only take someone to court when there's no other option. But what's interesting is that once a person takes someone to court and they see how the court system is and, you know, they have a lawyer, and they're more likely to sue in the future. And they're more likely, like the way there are certain people that constantly live through lawsuits, right? Like citizens that find reasons to sue someone and they make actual money from it. Like there are these people. In Romania, we call them procesomani. Addicted to lawsuits, basically. It all starts with the first. And once you pop the first, once you pop the cherry, it becomes an addiction. And so, it's the same thing with war. Like nations don't want to go to war. Usually they try arbitration, they try diplomacy, they try economic sanctions, they try many things. And once you get into the war mindset, what usually happens is that the politicians are sidelined by the generals. And the generals usually want the war to end quickly, and to end it quickly, they want to end it decisively, right? So they want to strike a major blow to the enemy so that they don't rise up again and fight again within like 10 years or so. And when the generals get command, you know, like, look at the Battle of Verdun. Like, you have the Battle of Verdun, and you have, like, I just want you to imagine 10,000 people just being marched into the slaughter. Like, you know that the artillery fire and the machine guns just mow down people, wave after wave after wave, and your guy number 745 and you're going down there to get mowed down as well. Like, everyone in front of you got mowed down. Now it's your turn, right? Like, how do you rationalize that? Well, it's the sunken cost fallacy, right? It's like, okay, we sent 100 men, didn't work. We're going to send 1,000. Okay, we sent 1,000, it didn't work. We're going to send 10,000. And it just escalates, and it escalates, and it escalates. And so it's the same thing, right? Like, you're asking me, will the war escalate? The more it lasts, the more likely it is, yes. Like, all you need is a slip-up. All you need is some irrational decision. Like, maybe a general goes like, all right, well, like, imagine you're on the Russian side. And you basically say, look, at this point, we're already fighting NATO. Like, Germans are giving them Taurus missiles. The entire continent is arming Ukraine. There's probably, like, soldiers that are undercover fighting. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're already fighting NATO, right? Like, may as well, the Americans are distracted in China. They're in the Pacific over there. Maybe China will do some shit in Taiwan and distract them. We're not going to get a better opportunity. And then they decide, all right, well, let's try to strike some military targets in Berlin. And from there, you now have an international disaster. It's not going to escalate overnight. Like, if that were to happen, you'd have NATO issuing Article 4. They're deliberating, they're deciding. Because, like, Russia can say, well, they attacked us. Like, Taurus missiles require German intelligence, German manufacturing, German officers, right, in order to launch it into Russia. They attacked us, now we're attacking them. And then you're going to have people in NATO, like Hungary, saying, well, it doesn't count for an Article 5 because technically Germany didn't get attacked, they attacked first, right? So, like, the geopolitical situation is extremely complex, very tense, very easy to have things go wrong. So if you're asking me, like, will this war expand? Hopefully not, but there's always a potential, yeah. Like, there's always a possibility. You think they'll go to 1 man per family when it comes to conscription? In what country? Where? I mean, obviously, eventually they do want to recruit as many people as possible without destabilizing the nation, because you can't recruit everyone into war. You still need an economy at home. If this happens, I want myself to be drafted instead of my brother. That's very touching. And many people think this way. Like, many Ukrainians that I talk with, they say that the reason they're supporting the war is because they want to fight it now so their kids don't have to. It's a logical statement. Like, a lot of people go like, why is Ukraine still fighting? It's because, well, they don't want to see that the Russians believe they can get away with this because, okay, you have a peace now for 5-10 years, and then they start again. Like, people forget that the Russians initially invaded Crimea. There were there were some economic sanctions, but nothing too major, right? It was over quick. And the Russians weren't satisfied. They weren't happy. Now they want Donbass. And so Ukrainians go, it's like, okay, let's say they get Donbass now. What's to prevent them in 10 years from taking more of Ukraine, right? Like, imagine if you're in the United States and Mexico just takes Texas. Right? You're like, okay, well, I guess, they may have a point. Like, there's a lot of Spanish people in Texas, and they were being oppressed. Right? They weren't getting American citizenship. They weren't getting the welfare. Now the Mexican government wants them. And then the Mexican government takes another state. Like, there comes a time when it's existential. No answer to the question that Dev dodged. Would you support conscription if it comes to it? Dev said, I don't think it will come to that. Well, that's ridiculous. All right. First of all, I personally don't really support any war. But if it actually comes to it, I don't know how I would feel during it. Conscription is not something you support. It's something that happens. Like, you don't get to have a say in it. You don't vote for it. Right? Like, conscription will happen. And it depends on your nation. Like, if you're a big nation like Canada, chances are they're not going to kidnap you from the streets. Like, it's not going to get to that point. But if you're fighting a nation that has more people than you, and it's a industrial meat grinder, and it's an attrition war, yeah, you're going to get conscripted off the streets. And it doesn't matter if you support it or not. No, it's going to happen. Anyway, right. It's such a comfy stream, but it's going to be over because I need to upload videos on my other channels. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the super chats. And as usual, I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.